Do you know the story of the little duck who stopped looking at his reflection? Once upon a time, not too far from a quiet forest, a family of ducks waited patiently by a nest. One by one, her eggs hatched. Soft, fluffy ducklings emerged, full of life and light. But the last egg was different. It was larger, heavier, and colder to the touch. When it finally cracked open, the duckling that came out looked nothing like the others. His feathers were a dull gray. His wings drooped, and his legs looked too long. The others stared. Then they laughed. "Look at him! He looks like he fell into mud. Maybe he's not even a duck." The little duckling looked down. He hadn't even said a word, and already he felt out of place. He tried to join in. He followed the others, copied their quacks, learned to paddle in line. He even tried to shrink himself, to smile just enough to not be noticed. But no matter what he did, he was always a step behind. The others grew stronger. He just grew lonelier. Even the grown-up animals began to whisper. Even his own mother started to avoid his eyes. He felt the stares, the whispers, the quiet sighs when he entered the pond. It was as if even the water didn't want to hold his reflection. One day, after being pushed aside one too many times, the little duckling walked away. No one noticed. He didn't know where he was going, only that he couldn't stay where he wasn't wanted. He walked past the barn, the fence, the place where he was born. And for the first time, he walked into the unknown. He met other animals along the way, hens, geese, cats, dogs, but no matter where he went, they all said the same thing: "You don't belong here." He stopped asking questions, stopped expecting kindness. So he kept walking. He crossed rivers, meadows, deep woods. He learned how to hide, how to curl up small, how to speak softly so no one would notice him. Some days, he forgot what it felt like to laugh. He walked through tall grass, through soft moss and leafy trails, and finally arrived at a lake he had never seen before. The lake was calm. The sunset glowed like a golden ribbon across the water. He sat beside the water. He didn't cry. He was too tired to cry. All he had wanted was to belong. Just then, a soft light flickered through the trees. It wasn't the sunset. It was something else, something magical. Out stepped a unicorn with a rainbow mane and kind, gentle eyes. A unicorn named Luan. She didn't ask, "What's wrong?" She didn't say, "Don't be sad." She simply sat beside him and dipped her magical paintbrush into the lake. And with one graceful stroke, she painted across the surface of the water. The little duckling looked up, and what he saw in the lake made his heart stop. He expected to see the same awkward duckling, but instead, he saw something different. A creature with long, elegant wings. A neck curved like a crescent moon. Feathers glowing in soft white and gold. A swan? Luan nodded. But that's not me. The duckling frowned. Luan looked into his eyes and said, "It's you, when you stop believing you are small." Silence. Then the duckling looked again. He looked longer this time, not trying to judge, not trying to fix, just trying to see. And slowly, the swan didn't seem so far away. It wasn't magic that changed him. It was perspective. And in that golden, quiet moment, he smiled. He smiled, not because he became someone new, but because he saw the truth that had always been there. Years passed, and yes, his feathers changed, his wings grew strong. But the most important thing that changed was that he no longer looked for mirrors to tell him who he was. He already knew. And maybe one day he would return to the place he left, not to prove himself, but to remind the next little duckling that being different is not the same as being wrong. Sometimes, all it takes is one look to finally see who you've been all along. You are not waiting to become beautiful. You are learning to remember that you always were.